Ho, 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 ladies and gentlemen. It is time. We are back. It is Friday. It is the last day of school for my kiddos, and I'm guessing a lot of the kiddos, if not all the kiddos out there. I got a little Santa hat action today, so I'm going to make sure it's on correctly. Because it's the holiday, we're in the festive spirit here. This is Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm. As you know, Gamez Law, even during the holidays, fights. Legally, of course. I mean, they don't fight amongst themselves, but legally they will fight for you. And so give them a call if you have any legal needs. Hopefully that's not the case, but if you do, they will fight for you. So we are happy to have you join us here on this Friday. Again, it's getaway day for a lot of people as the kids are getting out of school, and maybe you're going to be traveling for the holidays or whatever is meaningful for you. But I'm Rudy. Welcome in. We are going to be joined shortly by Brad Mayhar with the Salvation Army, and he just does amazing work. And I have compiled some statistics, some numbers here, just to give you an impact, because so many of you are familiar with the Salvation Army red kettle and the bell ringing and everything. And maybe, or if you're not, we're going to tell you about it. But I think you might be surprised to see how a little donation, a little generosity on your part can go a long way. I want to thank my sponsors. I mentioned Gamez Law, but Generations Federal Credit Union, Rudy's Flooring and Remodeling, Image Ave Clothiers, and Absolute Power Electrical Contractors. I was out a couple of days ago ringing the bell with Mike Taylor. We have our podcast. Let's bring in Brad Mayhar, ladies and gentlemen, from the Salvation Army, and he just so happens to have my red kettle. Hello, sir.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good, Ernie. How are you?
I'm fine. There it is. There it is.
Never leave home without it.
Yes. Is it full of money and everything?
It has been. We've unloaded what's in there and given it to the finance department. So
That's a good man.
Yeah,
That's a good man. So this is the kettle, but a lot of people can't just come show up at my car and put money in it. But there's the QR code.
Right. There's a QR code we have on the top of the kettle. So even if people see you out and about, or they see Mike or Cleto, whoever out and about representing you guys, they can put cash in it, or they can donate to one of the codes. Look, there's another code on the kettle too.
Let me give him a chance. I posted this earlier, but here's a chance. I want to put it up kind of snug there with the camera so you can see it. And maybe if you feel moved to point your device at it, and if you have $1 million lying around, as I like to say, or even $10 lying around. I printed up some of the thank you, sir. I printed up some of the numbers here that you sent out, because I really think this really puts into context, whatever your drug of choice is, your vice. Maybe it's Starbucks, or it's lottery tickets, or it's whatever it is. But as little as $10, you can provide a warm meal for somebody who does not have one to eat this time of year.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you that even if you donate $10, you're making a difference, and then you multiply that on and on and on. Look how big of an impact you can have. So
it adds up really quickly. So I want to invite everybody who's watching right now, even if you can't give, if you don't have the means, or it's not your time, we understand that. But if you could share this video so that more people can see this, and maybe they are moved or have the means to give. And everything. So I just realized I'm dressed up like I'm in the North Pole right now, and you've got a T-shirt on.
Yeah, I know. It's like Texas Christmas for you, right? So
I'm very delicate. I get cold very easily.
Should have brought you a scarf, one of our Salvation Army scarves. Would match your.
I'll have to add that to the. And then we mentioned $10, but $50 provides a homeless single mother with 3 children 1 night of safety in a shelter with hot meals for for her and her children.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and just in our building at our emergency family shelter downtown, we have men, women, and children staying in our shelter. People sometimes think, what does homelessness look like? What does a homeless person look like? And, human nature sometimes, maybe we've been guilty of it. We think of just the guy under the bridge with a cardboard sign, but a homeless person, look in the mirror. It could happen to anyone. It could be, we have middle-class families that sometimes things happen, job loss or health setback of some kind. And, anyone at some point in time could need help, or maybe someone and it's really eye-opening when you take a tour of the shelter and you see kids in the hallway, or you realize that there might be 70 kids staying in our shelter on a given night. It's
sad, but it's the reality. And so that gives you an idea of kind of just what again, I tell people what it takes you to buy a couple of Starbucks or whatever that means to you. You know, you can put in the kettle or you can donate it right now online. And if we do get a massive donation or something significant and you want to comment about it right here, wouldn't it be great? I posted the QR code on Facebook. Wouldn't it be great while we're on the air live here?
We can say thank you and ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
In your honor.
And if it's big enough, we might do something even more.
I might go out there and start breakdancing in the parking lot. You know?
And I'll take the camera out there.
Right.
We'll figure out a way to do it.
We'll go viral.
We'll do it.
More donations.
So I've gotten to know Brad over the years, obviously through my work in TV news and everything. And I feel like you've been with the Salvation Army forever. But did you not once upon a time work as a reporter, among other things?
I did. I started off as a newspaper reporter in Lufkin, Texas.
Yeah.
And 2005 moved here, a couple of jobs along the way, and I've been at Salvation Army 10 years now. Just celebrated my 10-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So
how did that happen where the Salvation Army came into your life 10 years ago?
You know, it was amazing. I was going through a rough patch. I mean, not to the extreme of needing shelter, but, you know, just like a lot of people have at some point in their life, you're in between jobs, and a friend of mine called me because everybody I knew, I said, keep me in mind if you hear of anything.
Absolutely.
And someone called me and she said, have you ever thought about working at the Salvation Army? They need something. I was like, the Salvation Army, what am I going to do? Ring a bell or work at a store? Well, I don't work in the store. I don't operate the cashier, but I do ring the bell. So
yes, you do.
I was kind of being sarcastic, but it's a part of my job and I enjoy it a lot.
Well, I mean, you know, we know the Dallas Cowboys have embraced it as well, and that's a big thing during Thanksgiving. But this Salvation Army is not a November, December thing by any means. I mean, this is a year-round. I know you have fun with it too, but this is a year-round job ministry for you.
Yeah, year-round. I mean, we are trying to educate people about our programs. We always have needs. We have volunteer, financial needs, volunteer needs. There's a lot of ways you can get involved. I mean, there's not just the shelter, there's programs for kids. We have a Boys and Girls Club branch on near Peacock, near Woodlawn, that's operated by the Boys and Girls Club. We've got programs for seniors, a nutrition center, social services programs. We have so many things. We have something for everyone. So even when you donate to a kettle, you support all of these programs year round. And then even in addition to, or maybe in lieu of, if you're not capable of donating financially, if you can volunteer your time, you can volunteer to be a bell ringer, or one of the other programs throughout the year, you can volunteer and get involved. And we have a lot of events, and we really enjoy just getting everyone involved and just including all groups of people, all walks of life, because that's who we are and who we serve. And so we want our volunteer base to be as diverse and fun, and giving back can be fun.
It absolutely can be. I was out ringing the bell with Mike Taylor and yourself the other day in front of a Walmart, and we're out there for a couple hours, but you get to visit with people and have a good time and just kind of talk, and people are so generous, and you see little kids come by and try to stuff dollar bills in there. I have memories going back many years when I was much younger of getting pocket change or whatever it was, and you hear that unmistakable sound. Yeah, you've got the bell, right?
I've got the bell.
See, this is the unmistakable sound. Any sense as to how many bell ringers there are? I know there's a shortage right now, or you're always looking for more people to ring the bell, but how many are out there doing their thing?
At a given day, it seems like this season's been really down substantially. I mean, there might be 20 bell ringers out there, 20 or 30 of them out there at a time, or maybe even less. Unfortunately, there may be less than 20 at a time, and we have 100 kettle sites that need to be staffed. And the more we can staff those sites, the better, because we've heard a lot of, we're aware the numbers are down as far as volunteers this year for whatever reason. But, when those when those bells are silent, they're not making any money.
No.
And so we've got to get the word out, even if it's for a couple of hours. School's going to be out for most people next week. Yeah. Think about, for a couple of hours, I'm going to get my kids out and we're going to go ring the bell somewhere. And then you already have a parking spot, and then you can do your shopping after or before or after you ring the bell.
Kids need volunteer hours sometimes.
Exactly.
Or it's a nice, cool tradition to start with your family. Don't think that, I don't have a kettle, you can't go out and ring the bell. It's actually a lot of fun. I mean, and we have a good time with it.
It is, and even if you don't have a kettle or you just want to make a donation, I mean, we want for you to scan this QR code here and support you guys in our competition. But even if you go to SalvationArmySATX.org, you can make a financial donation year-round of any kind.
All right. Well, because we need help. We're talking about the parade of kettles.
Yes.
So Mike Cletto and I, with our kettle here, we're in a battle right now with our fellow media and influencers and PR counterparts. So we would love nothing more than to have a bunch of small donations or a couple. There's the 3 Cents podcast. That's my other venture with Mike and Cletto. That's the QR code. And then our sponsor for the podcast is Integrity Roofing and Siding. So thank you to Ronnie and Stephanie Suarez there. But whatever that means to you, again, we're battling. I know some of my friends in the TV business can be very competitive sometimes.
They can be. They are,
I won't mention any names.
Yeah, we won't mention names here, but there are a lot of, there's competitors and there's people out there doing incentives of different types to encourage donations. And, I tell people all the time, and I've told Mike Taylor this for years.
Yes.
Always have to tell Mike every year, I'm down for anything you do as long as it doesn't get anybody fired, divorced, or killed. And any incentive is fine.
We don't want that.
So, and Mike will, for $40.
Yes,
Mike
I was just going to say.
Yeah, Mike will talk about whatever topic you want.
Right. So for a $40 donation to our kettle on Mike's show or even on the podcast, we'll do it if we need to. He will talk about any topic within reason, obviously, that is meaningful to you for several minutes. It could be something random. It could be something out of left field, again, as long as it doesn't get anybody in trouble.
Yeah, and some of my favorites that Mike's done through the years, he's done like impersonations of elected officials and celebrities and stuff. Jerry Jones is one of my favorites.
Oh, he does a great Jerry Jones.
And some of those.
He does a great Jerry Jones.
And then he's also... and one time someone paid him, Mike's a big Willie Nelson fan, and he's not a fan of most of the current country music, I'll say. So one time someone paid him to do a whole segment saying why Luke Bryan was better than Willie Nelson, which broke Mike's heart, but he had to do it because
he got paid.
It was
Salvation Army.
It was for the kids and the families in need.
Oh my gosh. All right, so in your 10 years of doing the Salvation Army, and then when the Red Kettle comes along, what's the craziest story you've heard of somebody putting something unbelievable in a kettle, or just a story that's gotten back to you related to the kettle?
In terms of the kettle, we've had a few funny things. I mean, one time some Cheerios ended up in the kettle, and that was a Mike Taylor kettle.
What, Cheerios?
Yeah, there were Cheerios in the kettle.
We don't want your cereal.
And I can't remember what it was exactly. I want to say there was something weird in Cleto's kettle one year. And then one year, Vanessa Martin and Trudy had mall security called on them when we were at La Cantera. That was, I don't know if we should brag about that.
I don't know. Is there a story there that we need to?
Well, they wandered outside of our designated area to go because they saw that other Parade of Kettles participants were there. So let's be original. Let's walk down to, Dillard's or whatever and try to then.
Their heart was in the right place.
Yeah, they meant well.
You got to stay within.
The mall didn't appreciate it.
You got to stay within. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I got a phone call.
Okay. Any sense of how much money is raised each year with the Red Kettle campaign?
The Red Kettle campaign, it's our biggest fundraiser of the year because it funds all those programs. So our goal, we would love, outside of Parade of Kettles is a small piece, but big umbrella Red Kettle campaign, our goal would be to raise, about $300,000.
That's crazy.
It would be great if we could do that. You set big goals and you never know, good things happen. I mean, it's a generous community and, the small amounts add up and there might be somebody out there with the means to do something big. You never know.
We're standing by. If anybody wants to do something big right here, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
There are a lot of companies that will match as well.
Yeah.
So if you work for a business that will match a charitable donation, that's an incentive, something to think about as well. And it's a time of year where maybe some companies have charitable giving that for tax reasons they need to unload or get rid of in the last few weeks of December. So this is, again, we're just saying,
Yeah. And one thing that happened, I'm not going to mention the name, but
Okay.
there was another competitor in this competition. They had a sponsor or a company that was a friend of their company make a donation of a pretty big one, and then this individual challenged other people in his industry
I get
to
it.
match that. Yeah, so think about that.
I've seen that before with like contractors or elected officials. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've seen that before where you say I'm an elected contractor and I'm going to give whatever, and I challenge all my fellow contractors to do the same. I mean, it adds up so quickly. But again, we're asking if you don't have the financial means. I know. Things can be tight for a lot of people, or a lot of expenses in the month of December. But if you have it, or you don't have it, you can still share the video here. If you have something, we would love for you to comment. If you want to go public with that, we would love to hear about it. But,
if you want Mike Taylor to go on and talk about how Ernie's his favorite podcaster and Ernie's the best podcaster in the world, Mike will do that for $40.
That's it, $40 donation.
Or he might do an impression, or Ernie might do something for $40. Ernie will think of something that
I can be bought.
Yeah,
I can be bought.
Yeah.
Super cool. Well, listen, I'd be remiss if I didn't, kind of just think about just driving downtown, and I know that you touched on kind of the homeless community and what that can mean to the individual person. Not a year goes by where I don't get, especially when I was on TV, where I didn't hear from people on Facebook, and you never know if they're 100% telling the truth or not, but people that are reaching out in need. They're desperate for help, and they give you a story, or people reach out and are asking me to point them in the right direction. What do you tell people like that who have fallen on hard times or had a rough year, and they really need a little help right now? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I encourage them to just never give up. I mean, as bad as things look, always keep going and know that somewhere along the way brighter days are going to be ahead, and that you can, when you're in that position, we want you to come back and be one of those success stories that talks about, we met a lady last week, bell ringing. She donated to your kettle, and then she spent a few minutes telling us her story, and she shared that she actually stayed in our shelter at some point in time several years ago. She was going through a hardship. She was in our shelter, and now she owns a business, and she's donating to the kettle,
paying it back
financially. People do that. They pay it forward, and with volunteer wise, they pay it forward. They get their kids involved. Angel Tree program every year with Angel Tree, we have volunteers. Some of them will come up to us and tell us about how they were a recipient of those gifts one time, and now they're volunteering and getting their kids to adopt angels. Think about people who don't have it as good as us, because at any given time, anyone can be the one struggling.
If I ever learned anything from doing the news all those years, when I was having a rough time or something didn't go my way, I was always assured that somebody else has it worse. It can always be worse. No matter how rough you think things might be for you, it can always be worse. What would you like people to know about the Salvation Army? I mean, I think they know about the Red Kettle campaign, maybe the Angel Tree program, or things like that. They see the logo or the thrift stores they drive by. But is there something else that maybe happens behind the scenes, or just a message you would like people to know about what you guys are all about?
We always encourage people to come in for tours, because I think we offer something for everyone. I might have touched on this some earlier, but for example, going back to when I interviewed for the job, and even like the average person that comes in that says, what is this about? And I give a tour to for the first time, their first time in the building. I say, what do you know about the Salvation Army? And they say, well, I know they ring bells right at Christmas time, and they have stores. Oh, the deals are great at stores, and they are. But there's so much more. Like the money that you're giving, it supports, families who fallen on hard times that need help in our shelter. There's social services programs for veterans, grocery assistance, food assistance. We have a food pantry, senior center, senior nutrition center, a boys and girls club. There's so many ways that you can get involved, and there's something for everyone, because I think most people who volunteer or give back, they have some sort of sweet spot or passion. There's a mission that they like, and there's a lot of things that I've been surprised sometimes talking to people in the community, and in some cases it might be someone who's somewhat prominent in the community.
Yeah.
You give them a tour, and sometimes they'll open up and say, at once upon a time, I was a victim of domestic violence, and I'm so glad that you have a place for families to go, with sometimes some of the women in our shelter are going through those things. And, they can relate, and then they volunteer. They want to come back and speak and be an inspiration to the clients.
I've seen those stories. It really is powerful stuff, and you realize kind of like a full circle moment for these people who were actually, like you said, at one point in the shelter. And with the military presence here in San Antonio too, to know that you do programs for the military or for veterans and stuff like that. We're with Brad Mayhar here with the Salvation Army for a few more minutes. He's got the red kettle here. If you have any questions, by the way, or comments, or maybe you have an experience with the Salvation Army that you want to share, or just anything you'd like to pass along. Some of you who just came on or were a little late, I might have missed at the beginning, we were talking about just the impact that just a few bucks can make as it relates to the Salvation Army. I mentioned $10, you can provide a warm meal for someone. $500, for example, you can buy easels, paintbrushes, and canvases for 40 seniors seeking to paint their next masterpiece. So maybe some people might say, well, seniors, I wouldn't have thought about seniors in the Salvation Army.
And we have a senior nutrition center, and they come every day on weekdays, Monday through Friday. They come, they have fellowship with other seniors, they get out of the house. In some situations, it's seniors who, kids have moved on, kids are working, they don't have that around the clock care, they don't have a place to go during the day. Some of them are widowed, but they come here and it's like it lifts their spirits. They have a place to come and fellowship, and you mentioned the masterpieces. Some of them do art and paint here.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. $1,000. We touched on the military here. Can help a struggling veteran with rent, utilities, and food for a month. So you think about just what $1,000, if you had that means, you could impact a veteran. Salvation Army, SATX.org. So what do the holidays mean to you? Do you have a specific tradition or something that's unique to you?
After red kettle season, I just pass out and go to sleep. That's I mean, no, it's just like, fortunate, that I have a family to go home to, and some years we travel to go see extended family, and I think this year we just want to stick around here. But just the traditions of the getting together and spending time with family, enjoying each other's company, because we get so busy in the rat race of life, and it's a time to reflect and appreciate the things that are most important.
Where did you grow up?
Grew up in East Texas, outside of Lufkin.
So that's how you ended up at the newspaper and everything.
Exactly. I started off as the guy that typed obituaries for the newspaper, and
really?
Yeah, I was in college. I needed a job.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
I was tired of retail and other things, and so I was collecting name tags, and then I had my college professor stop me one day. I was on my way to the library, and she said, "Brad, where are you going?" I said, "I'm sick of working at, won't name the company. I'm going to look for a job." In those days, I'm dating myself, I was going to look at the newspaper.
Yeah, the classifieds.
Yeah,
heck
at the library. And she said, "Well, why don't you go down to the Lufkin Daily News? They need someone to type obituaries and wedding announcements." And I was like, okay, maybe I can do that. So I went.
And you don't mix them up.
Or maybe sometimes they're tied together. I don't know. But but weekend at Bernie's or something.
You're right.
But I got that, and then just little by little things happened. I found myself on my days off. I worked every other day, so I would get bored on my days off, and I would travel to Houston and think, who could I try to interview for the paper? And I got an interview with Evander Holyfield. It's a crazy long story. We'll have to save for another episode.
Speaking of boxing.
Yeah, I ended up in his house, and I did this interview.
What?
Yeah. And I did this interview, and then the editor, he couldn't believe it the next day. "What'd you do on your day off yesterday?" "Oh, I went and interviewed at the time, his heavyweight champion of the world. And it was like 3 weeks before.
I was going to say, was that before or after Mike Tyson?
About 3 weeks before. And
so you had the full ear experience.
Yeah, I had a picture on the wall in my office. You'll have to go see. But yeah, it was crazy. I asked, and as a young rookie reporter, I would sometimes ask something good, and I often ask really stupid questions as a young reporter. But I said, what happens if you win? Oh, I'm going to unify the titles. I'll fight Michael Moore and Lennox Lewis, blah, 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 blah. Okay. What happens if something goes wrong and you lose? And I was like, and now in hindsight, I'm like, that was a really stupid question. You don't ask a boxer, what happens if you lose?
Right.
Yeah, you might get smacked. But he looked at me and he said, well, how can anything go wrong? It's impossible. I had the Lord on my side. And how can anything go wrong? I'm like, if I had a time machine, I'd go back and say, how can anything go wrong? This guy's going to bite your ear off. That was.
Nobody had that on their bingo card.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Who knew? But yeah. And so my editor couldn't believe it, and then he's like started offering me a full-time more stories, and I got a job, and then I ended up wanting to get into PR, and just one thing led to another, and the years went by, and I'm here, and I'm really having a good time.
Well, you definitely. Hi, Angie's on here as well, and some other people. You definitely have a connection with the media. People who've watched you over the years. On the different TV stations or doing different things, and the bowling event that you guys have in the fall, right? Is always a lot of fun.
In the fall, usually around September.
And I know Mike Taylor works a lot with you guys in his barbecue and everything. So you keep busy, but you have a lot of fun.
April 6th, next barbecue. Yeah.
Oh, is it locked in already? The date?
April 6th.
April 6th, right before Fiesta.
Yeah, right before Fiesta. We have a great committee that helps us with that, and so we have so many great events, and I think not just program-wise, but I'm so proud of the events that our team puts together, because we have so many events. We have something for everyone. Like if you like bowling,
literally,
you like golf, you like barbecue, or maybe you like all of them. We have an annual luncheon or dinner. Sometimes it's a dinner each year, and we hope to announce our speaker for next year.
You've had some big. Was it you had Henry Winkler? I believe you've had Laura Bush, right?
Had Laura Bush.
You've had
Lori Hernandez. You interviewed Lori and
the gymnast, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah,
you get some heavyweight, big A-list names.
We do our best. So
all right, you have to let me know when the next one comes out.
Yeah.
So very good. Well, listen, I know he's got a lot of work to do. It's a busy time of year. Salvation Army, SATX.org. Let's hold up the kettle one more time. Sure. Your last chance to make a contribution here on the show. Please continue to do so if you can. I'm going to get it nice and close so people can see it if they want to point their phone out there.
You can scan that right now if you'd like.
And make a donation. And if something happens after the show, and it's significant enough, I'll come back on the air, or I'll get a video of Brad breakdancing in the parking lot.
I might do the was it the Caterpillar or something?
I bet you could breakdance.
No,
I bet you could.
I could attempt being the key word, but I'd be so happy. Late
'80s Brad Mayhar in Lufkin or East Texas.
Brad Lufkin.
And we'll have to find the video, the VHS
with hair.
tapes.
Yeah, with hair.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, you're fine. You did all right.
Getting into trouble.
You did all right for yourself. Listen, I know I speak for Brad when I say thank you to everybody who has supported the Red Kettle campaign. When you hear the ringing of the bell, or if you'd like to bell ring yourself, there's still time to sign up and do all of that. Salvation Army, SATX.org, if you'd like to do that. And any donation, of course, will be welcome. The money stays here locally, and it goes to help out any number of people who are kind of having a hard time right now. So please keep that in mind. Always great to see you, sir.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Thank you for all the work you do.
A lot of fun. Thank you.
Happy holidays to you and your family.
Absolutely. Thank you too.
All right, there you have it. Another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm. We'll be back very soon. You never know who will be here in the front seat.
You never know.
Today was Brad Mayhar, but you never know who will be
somebody
next
much cooler than me.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Be safe. Have a great Friday. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.